Today we're going to take a look at inventory counts within the control center. To navigate there, we're going to click Point of Sale, Inventory, and Inventory Counts. Under Inventory Counts, we have the Cycle Counts tab. Cycle counts are what you're going to use to count your inventory at your stores. On the Cycle Counts tab, you'll see a list of previous cycle counts. To start a new count, we'll click Start Count on the top right. At the top, we'll select which employee is responsible for starting the count, the location that the count is going to be for, and then the inventory definition that is going to be used to fill out the cycle count. After we select those, we'll click Start Count on the bottom right. We'll get a success message here. After we click OK on that, we can see that we have our cycle count line here. And if you have a handheld, you'll be able to pick up the cycle count and continue scanning and counting from the handheld. Or otherwise, you can highlight the count right here, click the blue View button, and then when it loads up, you will see a list of products that were brought into the cycle count based on the inventory definition that you have selected. On this page, you can print it, you can refresh it if there are any sales that may have happened. You can save and reconcile it, which is going to complete the count. You have a button for setting the uncounted items to what the system expects the quantity on hand to be, and then of course cancel. On the page itself, under the floor count, or the user adjusted count, if you double click, this is where you can actually edit the quantity on hand of those products. After you double click and enter the amount in, if there is a variance based on what the system expected you to have versus what you typed in there, the line will highlight red. All that means is that there is a variance between what the system expected versus what you input. We're going to set the uncounted to expected quantity here. Now, after we are done counting our inventory, if we want to add notes on the bottom, we absolutely can. We can click that and then type in our note. Click the Save button. And then we can click the Save and Reconcile button on the top right. It gives you a warning that everything must be counted and the cycle count will be refreshed before it reconciles. And then it's going to ask you if you're sure that you want to apply the count. We'll confirm that. You'll get a green success message on the top right. And then after that, your cycle count's complete. Next up is spot checks. Spot checks can only be performed from the handheld. However, if you have an inventory definition, you can use an inventory definition with the spot check. Otherwise, spot checks are going to be for when you're counting one or two items, but not a full section's worth. Worth noting, it can only be accessed on the handheld. Next tab is inventory definitions. Now, there is actually quite a bit that you can do here. Inventory definitions are what you use to organize your inventory counts. So if you have your store set up in a way to have all of your like items in the same area, you can set up an inventory definition to bring all of those items together to make it easier to count. So on the top right here, we can add new. And just as an example, let's call this cigars. On the right side, we have Manage Inventory Definition Filters. From here, we can click this drop down, and it gives us a bunch of different options for how we want to filter this inventory definition. If we filter it by category, we can click this gray Manage button on the right side, and then it gives us a list of our category tree to select from. Since this one is going to be cigars, we have a category for cigars. I'm just going to go ahead and select the major category, and we can see that it's brought over to the selected list. And then we'll just click the green Apply. So with this information, if I save and close, whenever I start a cycle count using the cigars definition, all of the items that are saved in our price book with the category of cigars will be brought into the cycle count to be counted. So we're going to go ahead and save and close. and we've just made an inventory definition. This has been a brief overview of the inventory counts section and the adjustment sections of the control center.